The prestige system is boring. Jumping on the current bandwagon and the ensuing civil war in the player base and giving my 2 cents on the subject of, wait a minute, the prestige system is bad. Alright, I'm not too sure you're going to incite a war in the player base because of that, but okay, let's continue. I have Prestige 3 classes, Assault, Tactical, and Vanguard, and I've managed to get Prestige 1 in every class. I have 400 plus hours in this game, and I can comfortably run lethals without much effort. Okay, that's good. Now that I've given my credentials so that people who equate hours played with skill are satisfied, here's my experience. Alright, before we go any further, the reason I am reading about Prestige perks today is because I really think they should be buffed. Overall, I think since considering the prestige grind, considering the newly added higher difficulties, and considering statements from the devs in the past when they mentioned that prestige perks weren't supposed to be necessary, and they didn't want them to be necessarily strong, so you don't have to use them. Well, unfortunately, I think the devs kind of misplaced where their intentions were there, because what ended up happening was they added hard stratagems, which made the game significantly harder. So personally, I think it would be really good if the devs decided to just buff a couple of the prestige perks for classes that need them, mainly Vanguard and Sniper probably. I think Bulwark is okay. I think the Assault class is okay. I think Heavy is just a really good class, but the prestige perks are a little bit meh. Tactical, honestly, Tactical has 4 good prestige perks, and I've never switched them out. See, that's what really bothers me about the prestige perks, and I've been thinking about it a lot, is they're expensive to respec, so obviously it would be kind of annoying if you had to reset up your prestige perks for like each mission, or, you know, separate it from Chaos and Tyranids. However, I do think since the devs added in a new difficulty, and they mentioned in the past they didn't want prestige perks to be, you know, necessary or required, I just think we're past that at this point. If the devs' intentions with that in the past was to make sure that prestige perks weren't required, I just think it didn't age well, to be completely honest. That statement did not age well. So if people are having a rough time with grinding in prestige and, you know, obviously getting prestige perks for their, you know, their favorite characters and everything like that, I think they should make the prestige perks a little bit more worth it. I've seen some posts, you know, people talking about, hey, why not just add Emperor's Vengeance in the prestige perks for classes that have a primary? Like, why not? I mean, the thing is, though, Heavy already has ammo regeneration. Sniper also has ammo regeneration. So I'm not too sure about that prestige perk specifically. But honestly, like, if you just add Adrenaline Rush for classes that are Prestige 4 specifically, I think that would be really cool. Like, a cooler system than what we have right now. Like, specifically, if you're Prestige 4, then you get this specific, very strong prestige perk. Not like, hey, you got a gun strike and now you have extra hyper armor. Like, dude, that doesn't do anything for hard stratagems. Having extra hyper armor is nice, but in hard stratagems, if you just trade with everything, there are certain conditions that are just going to give you a really hard time, even if you land the gun strike. So, I don't know. I was thinking about the prestige system, and yes, apparently everyone doesn't like the prestige system or whatever. I just think the devs should make the grind a little bit more worth it and, you know, give classes very strong prestige perks as like a reward for getting to Prestige 4. I don't understand why they're still so finicky on giving classes Adrenaline Rush when we have suboptimal state in the game. Prestiging classes in this game is not optional. Between the community kicking anyone who isn't level 25 Prestige 4 on higher difficulties, hard stratagems, and the fact that the actual prestige perks themselves can be fundamental to builds centered playing on higher difficulties, you pretty much have to get Prestige 4 to not get insta-kicked from most matches. That's unfortunate. I don't want that to be the case, but for hard stratagems, I'm not surprised that is the case. Honestly, for me, if somebody is like Prestige 3, Prestige 2, I don't think that's a deal breaker. What I think is a deal breaker is being like level 5 Prestige 2 on an obviously overtuned hard stratagem, you know? So it really depends. But okay, let's continue. Now others before me on Reddit and on Saber forums before Saber deleted the most upvoted posts on their entire website. I wonder what that was. I mean, regardless, I'm not too sure how they operate with forums. Like, so, yeah, let me know in the comments if you know any information on that. have already explained how some classes are basically dead weight without perks that unlock at end of the grind and before the subsequent reset, so I'll just say this. Prestige grinding is not fun. It's just repeatedly playing the same operation and grabbing the same gene seed until you hit 25, then reset all your progress and start all over again. This is horrendously boring to do once, let alone 4 times for 6 classes. Yeah, I will say it's a grind. For me, it wasn't boring per se, because at the time I was still leveling up some weapons, so I was finding use for my grind, essentially. However, yeah, I'm not surprised that people feel this way, and that's perfectly valid. I've seen a few commenters mention that I have issues with seeing things through other people's eyes or whatever. I point out that I have my own opinion that may not be the right opinion, you know what I mean? Because of my circumstance. So, like, for the most part, it's like, everyone's having a rough time with grinding prestige perks. I agree. That's pretty rough for the, for the average player. That's 100% going to be probably the toughest grind of the year, potentially. But like for me at the time, like I leveled up Bulwark twice on console and on PC. I leveled up the Assault class twice, Prestige 4. And I leveled up the Heavy twice. So between the Bulwark, the Heavy, and the Assault class, I've done 6 Prestiges, and then not including, Tactical and Sniper and everything. So yeah, I mean, for me, that's why I don't know. I thought it was kind of a rough grind, but at the same time, I just liked playing the game. I just liked playing the game, and yeah, I kind of got lucky with that, essentially. But still, it's not like I'm here talking about prestige perks and not acknowledging how rough of a grind it is. I 100% will acknowledge the common sentiment when it comes to criticism. If a lot of people have issues with prestige perks, my opinion doesn't really matter that much. You guys, I've always talked about that. I've always said it's mostly about what the community's feeling. Like, if there's a priority in opinion here, you guys have the priority of opinion. I'll say my opinion, but that doesn't mean it's the right one. I never try to act like it's the right one. So anyone who's confused with that, I'm sorry about that. Maybe I should have been a little bit more clear. But ultimately, the reason why we are talking about these subjects is because of you guys. It's because of the community. So yeah, when it comes to opinion priority, it's always going to be the community. I just say what I think. That doesn't mean it's the right opinion. Some people, I don't know, they confuse me with saying my opinion as saying, oh, this is how you should feel. And that's just not the case. So I hope I was able to clarify that for some people, because I've seen some confusion about that in my comment section, which was a little disappointing, but it's fair. I mean, these are long videos, Somebody's going to miss something, I say. So it is what it is. For someone who has a bevy of other things they could be doing or other games they could play, this grind is just insufferably boring for what amounts to we did it, we reached Prestige 4, now we can finally play the game. Yeah, I agree with the Prestige grind and as a whole, that it can definitely feel that way, 100%. To preempt the question posed by that one guy who will say something along the lines of, this is a prestige system, it's meant to be grindy, you're just bad at the game skill issue, I have 200,000 hours in this game, bozo. I will say it's meant to be grindy for sure, 100%. And for whatever reason, the devs love punishing their players, so it's just it's just something they want to make sure that you guys have to grind a lot for it. But seriously though, you have to admit, the prestige system would probably be better off with better perks, or maybe it's just Prestige 2. Maybe you only need to Prestige twice, and then you can just cut out the perks that are bad. But yeah, ultimately for me, I just would hope they would give better incentives to grind. But don't get it twisted. You can definitely compete in stratagems if you're Prestige 2 level 24, But yeah, if you're Prestige 2 level 5, it might be tougher, for sure. This game is more casual than people on Reddit think. The only thing that can genuinely threaten you in this game is getting stun locked. Everything else can be managed assuming you have a functioning brain. Well, that's assuming a lot. I mean, even for myself, sometimes my brain decides not to function during an operation. There are prestige systems in other games that do not tie vital perks to them. This is probably the biggest issue for sure. I've seen other people talk about this, and yeah, I mean, honestly, when it comes to which perk specifically you need to compete in higher difficulties, yeah, for sniper you just need purification and a relic bolt sniper, and you can jump into any stratagem. But with the assault class, if you're the same level, you're gonna have a tougher time because purification is a lot earlier in the sniper's tree. And the assault class's most important perks are precision strike, which comes after level 20. Okay. there are prestige systems in other games that do not tie vital perks to them and are cosmetic only. Deep Rock Galactic. Don't compare anything to Deep Rock Galactic. That is... The Deep Rock Galactic might be one of the most user-friendly game experiences of all time. I mean, those devs just want people to play the game, which is great. Obviously, the devs that we have in this game want people to play the game and have fun, which I think for 99% of the players, if you're just ignoring, you know, hard siege mode and hard stratagems, you're having a great time. Like, I have a great time playing Space Marine 2 and Deep Rock Galactic, you know, casually. But yeah, I have since I mentioned this before, I have a console and a PC. I play Space Marine 2 on both. Sometimes I just like to sit down and play on the console and play some, you know, easy mode missions on Space Marine 2 just to get a little bit of a level on my tactical. That is Prestige 2 on console. But I have a Prestige 4 tactical on PC. Let me make this absolutely clear to everyone reading this. Okay, so they have a whole different section here. Let's get into it. Grinding is not skill. Okay. This is an interesting point to this post. I'm not too sure this is something that I find relevant, but again, let's see what they're talking about. The Prestige system is not testing your skill in the game. You could literally grind yourself up to Prestige 4, playing nothing but minimal difficulty. That would be a grind. Dude, if whoever would do that, I would give them props. You're spending so much time. Like, yeah, nah, this is insane. Whoever goes to Prestige 4 with just minimal, that takes a while. Yeah, okay. I kind of see, everyone should understand that this is why the Prestige perk feels so grindy, is because if you go into lower difficulties to level up, you don't get enough experience to really make that grind worth it. Unless they make Prestige perks really good. The only difference between that and grinding on Absolute is the amount of time it takes you to hit 25 again. The only thing that gets tested is your patience. How willing are you to repeat the same operation over and over again? And honestly, now we have siege mode and stratagem, so I think the grind is a little bit easier, but still, it's effectively what they are explaining here. Beating a true solo absolute is skill. Being the last man standing and clutching a swarm is skill. Grinding for 6+ hours is not skill, and the sooner you realize that, the better. I'm just confused why is skill and prestige perks in the same conversation, though? Like, who brought up, hey, you need skill to get to Prestige 4? I've never seen anyone say that. Like, to be completely honest, I've never seen anyone mention skill in this game that often at all, to be honest. Now, rant over. How do we fix the Prestige Snoo Fest? Well, I said my piece at the beginning of this video. Either make Prestige perks stronger, like significantly stronger, like strong enough to warrant grinding to Prestige 4. Like, if every class got Adrenaline Rush for a Prestige 4 perk, I think a lot more people would be trying to get there, to be honest, because yeah, that would make the game significantly more fun. I don't understand why the devs keep trying to like create these hills for themselves and then update the game to make those hills feel irrelevant. You know what I mean? Like, because yeah, they've already talked about, hey, we don't want prestige perks to feel required. Well, they are. They are required. So how about maybe going back on what you guys were talking about there, and maybe also take a look at how strong you wanted prestige perks to be in the, you know, to be at all. Because at the moment, certain classes like the tactical, I'm never going to switch out my prestige perks. I have 4 good ones. The other 3 are practically irrelevant. Like, there has to be a prestige perk you can swap out for every class to add something like Adrenaline Rush for heals for execution. Saber wants us to grind. There's no denying it. Grinding equals more hours played, more profit. I think okay. No. Dude, Saber makes money on selling the game and selling DLCs. They do not make more money because we play the game more. That's just it. The theory for this is committed players are going to spend more money because they're still playing the game and they're going to get cosmetics. That's the theory. It's not so much as more hours played specifically. Dude, that oh man, that just like took me out of my train of thought. I had something else to mention, but hey, maybe it'll pop up in my head regardless. So unless they want to bag some goodwill at the expense of playtime, we're stuck with option 2. Let us keep our perks after we reset. That's it. That's literally all that Saber would need to do to turn the grind into something approaching fun. It would mean low levels aren't dead weight in high level ops plus stratagems. It would mean that new players don't look at the prestige grind and instantly leave. Yeah, that's the one that bothers me. The prestige grind shouldn't feel so punishing. You know what I mean? You definitely need to, you know, grind to, you know, get the rewards. You definitely need to make sure you earn it. Yeah, it's more about earning it than it is about being Prestige 4 level good, because yeah, that's not really a thing. It's not really a thing. If you never prestiged the game but you've had 400 hours on it, you're just as good as the other player with 400 hours but who had prestige. They just have more tools than you, unfortunately. It would make the grind smoother. I agree. The whole, like, you know, taking away your perks, that system does feel very old and outdated. I agree 100%. I don't really have a lot to add there, like, to be honest. I just think everyone agrees with that, which is why I was confused on the beginning of this post when he's saying the ensuing civil war. I was like, dude, I'm pretty sure everyone agrees the prestige system is a little bit underbaked. But hey, the folks who never got past 8th grade reading age and treat this game like it's a job will come crawling out of the woodwork to tell me that I'm wrong and that the grind is a skill issue. I've never seen anyone say that. I don't know, guys. If anyone ever told you in any game, you know, grinding equates to skill, I mean, it's more about practice, okay? Like, here's the thing. If somebody is fighting the same gaunt over and over again, they're not going to get better at the game. You have to fight the gaunt, the major, the extremist, and the terminus. You have to, like, work your way up. That, honestly, if you just do that in one session and get used to fighting all the enemies in the game, and you're, like, level 20 or something, prestige nothing, you're in a really good spot, to be honest, because you're just going to understand the movesets and everything, and it's going to make the grind feel a little bit easier. However, right now, not only is the game more punishing, but also, yeah, the grind is also punishing. Saber has already made their opinion known by ignoring the prestige system feedback once before, so I don't anything will come from this. Well, the thing is, though, Saber's already mentioned things they said in the past weren't aging well, or they changed their mind, essentially. So yeah, I mean, the devs can change their mind. I'm not too concerned with the prestige system. I just want the system to feel more worth it, to be honest. I want the option to switch my prestige perks because of different builds, not just pick four of the best prestige perks and never switch them ever again. You know what I mean? On the other hand, though, I definitely would like the cost to respect your prestige perks. That should be a little bit lower, in my opinion, but I guess it really depends. But yeah, when it comes to improving this system, 100% there's a lot of things they can do. I just want them to add in, either Adrenaline Rush or Emperor's Vengeance, either ammo regeneration or something vanilla that is a significant boost. I think Prestige 4 deserves that. If you hit Prestige 4, you deserve a reward, man. Not only do you deserve, your Prestige 4 perk, but you deserve a good one. Not one that gives you hyper armor because you used your ability. That's just, I don't know, man. That's not very cool. There's so many perks that give you hyper armor. We don't need that in a Prestige perk. We need ammo regeneration. We need health regeneration, damage resistance, more damage, more headshot damage, more melee damage. There's so many different ways they can do that, But yeah, the Prestige system, not only is it a bit of a slog, but the perks are just not as creative as I was hoping. Like, on paper, they seem very creative, but with the addition of hard stratagems, I never find a reason to go back and switch my Prestige perks because the other ones just simply aren't good enough. Can't relate. I had tons of fun prestiging to rank 4 on every class. I'd prestige more if I could. Okay, I wouldn't go that far. I am so happy I'm done with my prestige grind, man. It was definitely being... Dude, you know what's weird about the prestige grind? It starts off pretty bad. Like, prestige 1 and 2 is pretty bad, but as soon as you're able to jump into lethal, prestige 3 and prestige 4 is actually not too bad because you have the extra experience buff. They should just make the experience buff way more. Like, to be honest, if you prestige at all, you should just get a flat out 50% increase to experience, or not take away perks at all, right? I like playing the game and working towards goals, so why wouldn't I? That said, if people want to keep their perk tree, I don't see a real issue with that. I don't either. Although, personally, I enjoy reliving the journey from level 1 again. I like the grind because it allowed me to try out different builds, try out different weapons and everything like that. And not to mention, as I mentioned, I was leveling weapons at the same time. So, it is what it is. See, right now, we have stratagems, we have siege mode. There are ways to make the grind feel a little bit easier, I guess, or less grindy. But yeah, dude, here's the other thing. A lot of people are really harping on this Prestige 4 grind, when in reality, it's like most of the game is available for you, even without Prestige. Like, you can jump into normal siege mode, you can jump into normal stratagems, you can jump into, if you're level 25, you can probably jump into absolute. I mean, lethal is going to be good for you. And then, yeah, if you have relic weapons, you're fine for all of that content. The only content that you're really sheltered from if you don't have all of the prestige perks is hard stratagems. And it's only certain hard stratagems that feel so difficult that you need prestige for. And then even with that, Prestige 4 players are still struggling. So I don't understand why people are trying to rush to Prestige 4 when it's like, dude, most of the game's opened up for you already. And trust me, you're having more fun just leveling up, playing siege mode, playing operations, playing normal stratagems than a lot of the veterans are. You know, a lot of the veterans right now, like when it comes to hard stratagems, we're not having the most fun in the world either. We're kind of getting knocked around, and you know, there's a lot of luck involved as well. But still, when we're able to get past those challenges, that's where the rush and, you know, the satisfaction comes in, because yeah, there's a lot of moments where I look back, I'm like, how did we survive that? That's insane. Like, those moments are cool. And you can only find those moments in hard stratagems, at least for me. But still, like, if you're leveling up, you can find challenging moments for sure. So I still think, like, 99% of the game is opened up to you if you are just doing your prestige grind. It's just hard stratagems and hard siege mode that are kind of sheltered off, and absolute, probably. But yeah, I mean, that's honestly the one good thing, or the one light note I can mention for players who are currently struggling with their prestige grind is you're still having more fun than the players who are in hard stratagems. Trust me. Even though it's a slog, and I agree, they 100% need to improve the prestige system one way or the other. Hard stratagems are still very difficult, very punishing, and a lot of players are very frustrated with them. So, you know, just enjoy your time in the game is all I'm saying. Don't rush to Prestige 4, because when you do that and you jump into hard stratagems, you're just going to, I don't know, you're just going to feel bad. You're just going to feel like you're going to feel less motivated because the difficulty spike went so high and you weren't able to get used to like lethal or anything like that. You just jumped into hard stratagems, you just jumped into hard siege mode and got boosted. And now it's like, oh wow, I'm Prestige 4 level 25 and I'm trying to play hard stratagems, but I keep dying, so now the game sucks. It's like, well, you should have just, you know, did the grind. You should just learn the game before you got to Prestige 4. That's very important. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. Obviously, I think they should improve the prestige system. They should add in better prestige perks and everything like that. But at the same time, for the players who are grinding through the game, most of the game is opened up for you right now. So if you want to do siege mode, just jump into siege mode. You don't have to feel bad because you're not in hard mode. Hard mode is simply there for veteran players, it feels like. And not to mention prestige 4 players, you know, all of that. There is reasons to jump into hard mode. It's just nothing you should be concerned with until you learn the game more. So for players who are grinding, it's like, I just don't understand what the rush is for, essentially. Like, why are you rushing to hard stratagems? You're just gonna have a worse time. You're just gonna have a harder time in hard stratagems, even with a good build. I don't know. There are fun hard stratagems, though. Don't get me wrong. So I guess it really depends. But yeah, ultimately, though, we are all in agreement here. The prestige system needs an improvement, whether it is to allow players to use perks, you know, during their prestige grind. That's fine. I think that'd be fine. Or making prestige perks just that much better to where the grind is like just more enticing for players to get an actual reward from. You know, like, I mean, look, don't get me wrong, the prestige perks we have right now are good. I just find very little reason to swap out like 4 of them and then the other 3 are just sitting there on the shelf doing nothing. So, hey, you know what? Prestige system needs some work. Let's take out 1 prestige perk for each class and put an Adrenaline Rush. And you can only get Adrenaline Rush when you're Prestige 4. So, that honestly, that would solve a lot of the issue for me. But still, I do think everyone has a great point with the grind and how punishing it can feel and everything like that. So, yeah, don't worry. We're all on the same page with this one. But yeah, even as a player who has Prestige 4 classes and everything like that, I don't mind if they make the Prestige 4 grind easier, you know? But yeah, let me know in the comments how you guys feel about this, and thanks for watching.